first live-action Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks like it's happening. That's the first part of our discussion. The second part will be, how do they proceed with this? Because it's a crazy concept that I think will work.
I can see it working. It makes me a little bit sad, the fact that we're getting a live action, because I absolutely loved the cartoon one that we got. So it's going to be really interesting actually having a live action version after the stellar performance and everything of that.
All right, so first up, let's back up a second here and go over this. So in that big release that they did where Amy Pascal, Sony's press, Marvel, Kevin Feige, he gives a huge paragraph talking about what's happening. Tom Holland staying for more films and how Tom Holland is joining the Sony in development live-action Spider-Verse. So that's a thing. And you have to understand, I think, at this point, is that Sony, again, they're still on borrowed time.
Yeah.
They are. Their future and outlook is not the greatest when it comes to every studio out there. So they got to figure out how to do this. Spider-Verse, critically, and it clearly won an Oscar, was huge.
Oh, yeah.
But the box office wasn't there.
But also, where was the advertisement?
Right. That's because they decided, as I've covered here before, Emoji Movie was going to be their primary focus because everybody at Sony had their hand in on it, and they were like, Spider-Verse, just toss that thing out there. It's a thing. And Spider-Verse originally included a cameo by Tom Holland, but they couldn't include it because of everything that was happening. Now that he's part of Venom, going forward, part of that universe, the Spider-Verse, which I assume what they're going to call it now.
Yeah.
You're at an interesting scenario where the live-action Spider-Verse can happen, and it's probably going to be really soon when they announce that that's their plan. Like Sony's going to announce some sort of slate.
Yeah.
How do you proceed with this, and which direction do you go in? Are you going to sit back, like if you were Sony, would you be smart enough to go, let's talk to Marvel Studios, give them 40% if they want, but we bring Tom Holland with our Tom Holland, and he'll play two characters, and then we'll bring in Garfield, we'll bring in Maguire if he wants. We're going to go all out. If you do that...
That's a $2 billion right there. $2
billion easily.
Yeah.
So Sony, even if they're like, does Disney want 50%? Sure. They will make bank on this.
That would be if... With everything that's been going on with Sony, it's like they need to lay off of whatever they've been.
Rothman's paint chips.
Yeah, Rothman's paint chips need to kind of get put away for a little bit, and they do need to think so smart about this, because that would be a $2 billion. Want to really throw things in there? You then have Miles. You actually live cast a Miles.
Yep.
And you potentially even have Poe Dameron, or the actor who plays Poe Dameron.
Oscar Isaac?
Thank you.
2099, yes.
As 2099, because you already have him voicing it.
And
then
again,
it would tie both of those together.
And not just that, you're developing Madam Web, introduce the high concept in there with somebody like 2099.
Yes.
On the MCU side, you're introducing the multiverse with Doctor Strange. Make a huge agreement, like, all right, we'll do Cumberbatch, we'll do Tom Holland playing two characters, you do Oscar Isaac. Can you imagine that stellar cast and how visually different that movie will look? And let's say 2099 plays a minor part. The interest is going to go so high, that movie's guaranteed $800 million solo, just because of the concept of Blade Runner with Spider-Man. I think Sony has woken up.
Right now.
I think Sony's waking up to the fact of Spider-Man is not just one thing.
No.
He's everywhere. And I think clearly for the outcry, because their press release, they state, we heard the fans. They heard what we were saying.
They saw the Twitters, they saw the boycott Sony, I'm not gonna go watch this movie. Like, everyone was out there in an absolute outrage.
Like I said, I have people at Sony that I talk to that I'm like, people from Sony listen to your podcast. They hear what the fans are saying. They're checking the comments. Like, I've talked about this before. They interact with fans and popular, opinionated folks because they realize that there's heart, there's fandom, and what they want. You have to just think about the fact that it was vocal enough that it got it back, and now everybody gets what they want. Disney gets more. Sony gets Spider-Man. Sony's allowed to develop multiple TV shows now because that's guaranteed in there. Venom is gonna now boom from this, you know, like
Morbius, we can actually be able to potentially put him into a better continuity of these worlds now, because here, the person that would be able to connect Morbius and Venom would be Spider-Man, so now we can actually kind of...
What really strikes me is like the last sentence that Kevin Feige has. He says, you know, with their development of Spider-Verse, you never know what interesting things might happen down the road. Again, I think right now he's teasing you. This is the same Kevin Feige quote when he said, when he was directly asked, are the Guardians and Avengers ever going to meet? And he's like, well, I can't tell you about the specific brands, but there is an idea of a possible unification. Wink, wink. It's like, Feige, just, we get your yes without saying yes, but...
Because he legally can't say yes?
Right, because of things happening and they don't want to be preemptive because TASM is exactly what happened.
Yep.
But this gives me hope that a live-action Spider-Verse is going to happen and everybody is going to be involved with it. Like Marvel Studios and Sony are going to sit down.
Yeah, they're going to have a collaboration, because imagine this. In the Spider-Verse, not only is it just a whole bunch of spiders, the Marvel cinematic area, or the comics of Marvel, got affected by the Spider-Verse as well. Just imagine they sit there and they're like, we need you for 10-second cam, or like 2 minutes. And they get Robert Downey Jr. back because he's from a different universe.
Look, if the CW can pull it off with Crisis,
yes.
If they can bring back everything, sure. And here's another one for you. Let's say they bring back Raimi's Tobey Maguire, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Benedict, you're in this. You remember how they mentioned that there's a Doctor Strange down the road? Would you like to play Raimi's version of Doctor Strange, like the 60s style, more whimsy? Like, can you imagine?
And then them meeting each other, and he goes, no.
Yeah, like, it's like, what happened to you? Like, there is a potential there that Sony uses this advantage from Disney, and who knows how far the partnership goes, because Sony might be like, so you guys want to have one of our characters appear in your thing, in your separate universe, but not part of the MCU. They can easily work out that deal. Like, there's so much now that this opens up to that I think the Spider-Verse in live action will be the most perfect thing.
We're gonna get a better version of Black Cat and Carnage. That was my fandoming.
I mean,
before the news happened, I actually just
remember, Shay, we're not fans though. We're fake fans of these characters, according to people on the internet. There's your Spider-Man tattoo.
Yep.
And that's a TASM 2 tattoo at that.
No, TASM 1. TASM 1.
No, it's still the long one. They kept that for 2. You can't scrub that off.
I got it because of TASM 1.
So, okay, let's talk about that here. Do they work out a deal with Andrew Garfield? And they're like, Garfield, you're back as Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah. Because, like, mind you, Andrew Garfield loved the first one.
God.
And he loved being a part of the first one. The second one ruined his life. Like, actually ruined his life. Imagine this. I'm going to throw you one better. That gif that goes around of Spider-Man, him in a Spider-Man suit, and he gets $1 because he got that picture, that's the Spider-Man he actually portrays.
Or
do that and you win.
Bring back Garfield as literally the Spider-Verse old washed-up Parker.
Peter B. Parker!
Because he's got a big beard, Garfield. Whenever you see him now, he's like looking like a hobo. Just bring him back like, yo. And here's the thing. They wronged Andrew Garfield.
Yes, they
He's
did.
not my favorite Spider-Man. I hate the second movie. I can enjoy the first one. But even me, somebody that doesn't like that franchise, can outright tell you that he was so wronged by Sony. You make this right. You make this at reality. You bring back Andrew, be like, what do we owe you? Was it $5 million before? Triple that to 15. Because it's not going to cost you a single thing. Like, if they could have afford to pay some of the other actors higher asking prices, like Robert Downey Jr. made $25 million for his Homecoming appearance, which was like 8 minutes total screen time.
Yeah.
Get back Garfield as an apology and shove him into an actual film with an actual plot and a conclusion to his character. Because, mind you, I loved everything about that franchise and the castings.
Yeah.
I loved all that.
And
I just didn't like execution.
Yeah, and I don't think he was a bad Parker. He was a different adaptation. He was basically the skater boy. Like,
it was what was popular at the time.
Exactly. Like, so there's so much potential here that we are getting extremely hyped. So Sony people who are watching this, you better be listening and taking notes. That this is what
the fans want. Yeah. We screamed loud enough to get Spider-Man back in, and they acknowledge it. So just be supportive of Sony. Like people said before, I'm not gonna see the Spider-Man movies if they're not part of the MCU. Now you have them. Now I'm telling you,
go see them.
Go see both of them.
Yeah. Support
this deal because it will affect both sides of the argument, and they'll go, this happened because of us, and they'll see the response, and they'll go, keep giving the fans what they want, and what they want is more Spider-Man with a great actor. Like, just let's vote with our dollar, which is what I always tell people. If you don't like it, don't give them your money. If you like it,
that's true.
Give them your money.
Yep.
So, yeah, Spider-Verse. When you guys think it's coming, because it's coming. It's happening.
Also, let us know in the comments kind of what you want to see out of that Spider-Verse. Yeah. We already told you we want every live adaptation. Bring us Spider-Man!
Dude, yeah, with the Megazord. Yes. Yes.
You want to get all the Power Ranger loving people in on this? You want to sit there and have a $2.5 billion, like, profit?
That's Megazord Spider-Man. I will, yeah, that's it. Just give us that too. I mean, bring every live action. Bring back, oh my god, what's the 80s live action Spider-Man show in the US? I'm gonna meet him in like 6 weeks at a convention here in England.
Oh,
I can't remember his name right now. He was great. Hammond, I think. John Hammond? No, that's the Jurassic Park guy.
Yeah,
right?
You've got the Jurassic Park shirt on too, so.
What? You know who I'm talking about. That guy. Bring him back.
Bring back Crane Dad.
My heart. Can you imagine? His son is in trouble again. His son is like 35. And he's like, help! And he's like, help my boy, Spider-Man! And like 7 Spider-Men storm the scene. The greatest cinematic achievement of all time. I will watch this movie on repeat. Just that one scene.
Scene with Crane Dad.
That will become my background of everything I ever use. The greatest scene ever.
Crane Dad, guys.
Do it.
If you can't tell, we're hyped.